Sterling here with Revolution Off-Road. Today we're going to be going over the new Deviant Race Parts intake. They make this for the 16 to 19 XP Turbo as well as the 18 and 19 Turbo S. This is really a good upgrade for any Turbo RZR owner. Not only is there a bit of a performance gain, but the nice thing about this is it's a full mandrel bent 3-inch intake pipe that's going to get rid of the factory plastic piece that are pretty prone to cracking. One unique feature of this kit over a lot of other kits is that it's a full U-shape. A lot of the other intakes on the market, they've got a 90-degree here and then they run a 90-degree boot off of them. This one here is a complete U-shape, and so all you're going to have is your straight rubber couplers on each end. The intake pipe itself, it's got provisions for your mass airflow sensor. It also has provisions on each side for your factory recirculator valve if you're still using one. If you're not using a factory recirculator valve and you've got an aftermarket blow-off valve, it comes with these caps and clamps to be able to cap both those off. You can find these on our website, revolutionor.com. We've got these in stock ready to ship. Let's get into this install. Should be pretty quick. All right, guys. First thing you want to do when installing the Deviant intake is you need to have access to it. So you can take your cover off here. Next thing you need to do is get into the air box. You want to take the factory clamps off of the airbox side and the turbo side. From here, so we've got the factory intake tube loose from the box and the turbo. And what you're going to need to do now is you've got, in our case where we're still running the factory recirculator valve, you've got two hoses here. The factory clamps are just a squeeze clamp, it's not a reusable clamp. So you're going to need to cut these off. Once you have those clamps removed, you can remove the tubes from the factory intake pipe. And before you go tearing this thing out of here, remember you do still have You do still have a sensor up here on the intake pipe. You are going to want to remove this. So here's the factory intake pipe out of the car. As you can see, especially down at the bottom where it mates to the turbo, this thing is super restrictive. Here's the Deviant pipe. Similar design, similar shape, but huge amounts of increase in airflow here. You've got your spot here for your mass airflow sensor, as well as your spots here for your recirculator valve piping. Let's get the boots on this thing, and let's get this thing in the car. All right, so you're going to need to take your factory mass airflow sensor out of your factory intake pipe. This has got a provision right here for it. The sensor itself should already have the O-ring on it. This is just going to pop into place, and you're going to use the supplied Allen head bolt to snug this thing down. Before you put it in, you're going to want to put both of your end boots on. So your 3-inch boot here is going to go on the short side of the intake pipe here. This is going to hook to the airbox itself. Other boot here that has the taper on it to go down to the size of the inlet of the turbo is going to go on the long side of the intake pipe. So once you've got both your boots on here, you're going to want to snug these down before putting them in the car. The Deviant supplied clamps are going to be a 10 mil instead of the 11 mil like the factory clamps are. So you're going to want to get your box banding clamp and your turbo banding clamp on the intake pipe before you slide it into the car. So we've got the Deviant intake tube. It's on the, it's mounted to the airbox. It's mounted to the turbocharger. We've got our recirculator lines hooked back up. We've got our mass airflow sensor plugged back in. Basically, at this point, all we've got to do is put our filter back in this thing, put the box back on our filter box, the trunk cover in, and we're good to go. Realistically, this is a 25 to 30 minute install. This is something that you can do, really quick in an evening at home with basic hand tools, and see a nice increase in airflow, and have a much higher quality piece on the car than you did with the factory plastic piece of junk. We've got these in stock ready to ship. You can find these at revolutionor.com.